Welcome back, everybody. This is Brother Mean here. Today we are in Pathfinder Wrath of the Righteous. Again, we are in early beta. Notice we've already had a patch update from the last patch. So a moment ago while I was recording, and I totally decided I didn't like the video, we've decided to go back into the game, and suddenly I had a patch update. So we're at 0.8.oj, was that OH just a moment ago. Again, the devs care. This is nothing more than proof to me that they are serious about fixing bugs, game breaking glitches, of course, being priority. A lot of people have already reported stuff that has bugged them out. Happened to me, but I solved my problem. It's not their problem. This was actually my issue because I was using a mod. That mod was causing the game to break. I could not generate a new character. I'll show you what I was talking about in the previous video just to give you an idea in case you are having the same issue. Once you get to here, whether you pick one of their characters or custom make your own, you pick a character, let's just say that one, you get to this step, and it would not let us pick anything other than Alchemist, and there was no next button. There was no way to progress further. You couldn't even pick the Alchemist or subclass of the Alchemist. It would let you pretend to pick one, and again, next would not light up. So again, that had been fixed already by me removing the mod. I literally just deleted it from the mods folder. I was also having an issue, just to give you another heads up, when I was doing Sword Saint and a new build. Again, it would not progress in a way that would allow me to pick a chosen weapon. I also noticed that when I got to skills, I wasn't getting shit all for skills. So again, I was picking something. I'm just moving this along just to move this. I wasn't getting the background selection. So again, that was another issue. Once I decided to, make my uh, intelligence of 19 or whatever that I started with, which was a typical build for me for a Sword Saint, I was literally got to this step here, and I would get 2 skill points, and nothing had a green check mark. So again, lots of bugs, lots and lots and lots more bugs. They are fervent about solving that problem, so do not fret, do not worry. It won't take them too long to solve those issues. And let's talk about some of the actual changes that they've given us in the original beta 3, which is what I'm going to call this one. This is the last beta patch, or at least last big beta dump on us before the game releases, supposedly September, early September, I want to say the 3rd or the 4th. They've changed the tone of the game a little bit as far as the color scheme to be a little darker, a little deeper, something that, again, to make it stick out from Pathfinder Kingmaker, which I totally agree with. I'm not exactly fond of this particular interface right here, but again, I'm growing on it, and it is interesting. I do love the magic mirror that you can actually scry and see your characters and whatnot into that. I thought that was kind of a cool little touch. But let's actually get into it. So notice the other thing that is going to be an issue for some of you, myself included. All my original builds that I was working with you guys are either broken or at the very least don't behave correctly. I'll give you a fine example. The Demonic Blood Raider here that I was toying with a little bit ago, I'm level 20, a powered level the character before the patch, and I was level 20, Blood Rager, Abyssal Blood Rager, I think, just because of theme, and then I went, of course, Demon Mythic Path, so I unlocked all the way to level 10. My spells should be +4 to all my spells per day, how many I have to cast for both spell books, because I had abundant casting and improved abundant casting. And the Blood Rager can't get beyond level 4 spells, which is normal, and the Demon Mythic Path didn't get access to spells above level 5, which again was normal. When I loaded into the game, matter of fact, I can probably do that right now just to show this to you. Notice that there's this progress bar, if you will. In some of my files, it'll get to 100%, and we'll never progress past that screen. So that's another bug that, again, I assume is because I've modded or using a mod, taking that out, and again power level my character, so we've got some issues. Notice some things right off the bat. I have a bonus to Strength, Con, and Wisdom. This is a mistake, I believe. So it is something that's going to be patched out. This is because of the Demonic Path, and you'll notice that there's 3 different aspects you can turn on. Only one of these 3 at any given time. That aspect can give you either bonus to Strength or Con or Wisdom, depending on which aspect we're talking about. In this case, Shadow Demon aspect is the one that's giving us a Wisdom bonus. You can see the appeal then for a Demon build, where literally if you get far enough to unlock that, for a Wisdom-based caster like Cleric, whether it's an evil demonic cleric or however you want to play the character, you can see the appeal of a +6 bonus. And again, that bonus is not typed. It's not, an enhancement. It's not an alchemical buff. This is just a generic +6 buff. it will stack with, like a Owl's Wisdom or a Tiara of Wisdom plus 6, 5, 10, whatever the hell you have. So a very nice increase, especially for those that want more spells a day, or, again, this can't stress this enough, higher DC check on your spells. And the Demon Mythic Path is amazing, it turns out, at buffing your spells for not only damage but DC checks. And again, this is just another way a wisdom-based caster could have some serious fun. And again, there are sorcerers out there in the game, subclasses of sorcerer that have a wisdom as their casting stat instead of charisma. It's a fine example of a way to capitalize on being a demonic sorcerer. Notice that for the con bonus, this becomes from your aspect of Valar. And again, I believe only when this toggle is on is when this is supposed to work. So clearly a glitch in the Matrix, if you will. The other one is a aspect of Vavakia, and it's a +6 to strength. So again, you can see a very powerful, pun intended, demonic build, capitalizing on a bonus to strength or con. Again, if you want those extra HP, man, that's a big increase to your HP and your fortitude saves. So certainly you can see the appeal of what the demon has to offer. Some of the other things I wanted to show you here before we get into my most recent build, or start of the build, to talk about the future of this channel, so to speak, is I wanted to show you the aspects here. So notice we have aspect of Vrock, Sheer, Bermerac, etc. and so forth. I shut them all off because the game that was glitching. I had multiples turned on, more than 3, and it turns out you should only be able to have 3. So again, glitches in the system. What do I mean about those mythic aspects? Notice these ones here are the ones that we get as we level up naturally. You can have any of these 2 on at any given time. They give a variety of buffs. We'll go over that here in a moment. Notice these fancy ones over here, these 2 here, and this one, and these 2 over here. These are special. And again, you have to choose. As a matter of fact, I believe you choose these as you level up as well. But you unlock quite a few of them, so it's not the end-all be-all of existence. Oh, I forgot to grab one. There's some in there that I will point to as being pretty damn badass for me and for what my play style. So again, I'll point those out to you in a moment. But these guys here, these special ones that are on the sides, these ones here, only one can be activated at any given time. And again, this does not include the entire list. So there's ones that we didn't pick because, again, you will not have access to, or be able to pick, I should say, every last one of them. You only have 5 choices to pick from to fill in your build, so to speak. But these all have a couple really interesting features. One, there's always something that happens all the time. +6 to strength, a +6 to con, a +2 specific skills, like in this case here. And those bonuses are equal to half your demon mythic path. So 10 divided by 2 is 5, +1, which is how I got to 6. And that seems to be a common theme here. So if you're going to get a bonus, it's going to be probably a +6 bonus at some stage. Notice we have, in this particular aspect of Rock, we get a bonus to Arcana, World, and Lore Religion. Again, upwards of +6. They do not stack, and this is a common theme, do not stack with other demonic aspects that would buff one or more of those skills. So you can't get a +6 and then another +6. Again, I'm fine with that. These are always on when you have the toggle on, I believe. This last part here almost always seems to be associated with a demonic rage. This is something that the demon mythic path gets. Up to 4 times a day, they can rage demonically. And that means when they're in a fight, if they activate that one of 4 times a day, they can get a buff to their attack and damage and blah, blah, blah. We'll talk about that in a second. But that's demonic rage. That's what we're talking about. That does not end until the fight is over, which is awesome. So if you're in a long, like a massive drag-out fight, those are money, because it's just like, fucking activate it. Might as well just be baller for this entire fight. And you can see the appeal. And unlike most rages, Blood Rager being an exception to the rule, which of course what this character is, but in any other case, demonic rage, I should say, will stop you from casting spells, not demonic rage. Matter of fact, it's in the demonic rage, as you'll see, it buffs your spell casting capabilities, which is fucking tits. So pretty damn badass. Notice that these buffs, that these aspects, there's usually a buff tied to, while in demonic rage, you get blah. In this case, blah is a bonus to ranged attack rolls. Notice it doesn't say ranged weapon attacks. That means that, things like ranged touch attacks, would capitalize off this as well. I have tested this. Notice it's not only +2 at the start, and then at the 6th level demon and 9th level demon mythic path, they get another +1. So you get all the way up to a solid +4 to your swing. Notice, keep reading. All spells and non-physical abilities that the demon with an aspect of rock uses, so basically some, I want to, what do I say, like a not a spell, but like a spell-like ability, falls under this non-physical ability stuff that they're talking about. Counts as a reach spell. This is broken. This is not working as intended. Again, bugs. I'm not worried about that. But notice that this is stuff that you can almost capitalize on. Other stuff, again, penalties to bad guys, bonuses to teams, is going to be common themes that you're going to see with these various aspects. Now, of the list, two that stood out to me that you want in this category here, the one where you can turn on two things. So again, that's why I point out these two, is one's called Brimarack. Let's look at this. Again, bonuses to 3 skills: mobility, trickery, use magic device. Again, they don't stack. I don't care. They do damage to anyone that's basically meleeing you with a non-reach melee weapon. So if they don't have some reach to that spear or whatever, like they're using a short spear, then they're going to burn. It's kind of cool. Kind of dig it. Keep reading though. This damage increases from 2d6 to 3d6, then 4d6 by 9th level Demon Mythic Path. That's solid damage for free. And all you have to do is be fucking demonic raging, which again you will do randomly. It seems to be an aura that's for a bad guy that strikes you, so it doesn't seem to be something that would like burn you or the teammates to be happy with that. But keep reading. Whenever the demon with an aspect of Brimarack casts a spell that deals damage while in demonic rage, that spell deals plus 2 points of damage per die. So again, a fireball spell is my fine example of this. 10d6 of damage will be 10d6 plus 20. You can see the appeal. Keep reading. It gets another bonus to that damage at 6th and 9th rank. So again, a capitalizes all the way up to a plus 4. So now that 10d6 fireball, best case scenario, will turn into a 10d6 plus 40. Certainly you can see the appeal of this aspect. That's the reason that this one drew my attention. The other one was one right below it, the aspect of Incubus. Again, persuasion, athletics, lore, nature, skill bonuses. Again, we'll appreciate those, especially on the intimidation corner against smash build. You can see the appeal here for buffing something like persuasion. But keep reading again while we're raging. Notice we get a bonus to the DC checks of our spells or spell-like abilities. Okay, so we use a spell or an ability that has a DC check. While we're in demonic rage, we get a +1 to this DC. Again, upgrades at level 6 and level 9 mythic paths to finally a +3. Again, keep reading, you're not done yet. While raging, the demon with an aspect of Incubus toggle on gets a +4 bonus to weapon damage. That again, it goes up by 2 more points at 6 and 9, so to a final +8 bonus. Now again, we have better spell DC check. We have better weapon damage. Obviously, doesn't say melee weapon, so we're going to assume it's all weapons. But again, if it's melee weapons, I still have no problem with that. And then if, like I said, you throw in the Brimarack one, which gives us a bonus to our damage dealt with our spells. Better chance the spell will land for full damage, and then you have more damage per die. You can see the appeal of these two. I assure you that those two are solid choices. We'll definitely use those most often than not. That's not to say you won't activate these other ones. Why would you activate another one instead? Well, maybe you're doing a skill check, and maybe now you have the ability to buff, say, Arcana, and this is your only way of doing so easily. Turn that thing on. Maybe you're going to be a Raycaster build. Again, something that we're going to talk about in this video today is different build types. But this one here, again, with a ranged attack rolls, remember, that's all ranged attack rolls. Maybe you're an Eldritch Archer. Maybe you're that specific subclass of Paladin that's a Ranger that has a Divine Hunter, I think they call them. Literally a bonus to your shooting with a bow or chucking your javelin, or again, throwing your bombs as an alchemist. You could see the appeal for the Demon Mythic Path now, I imagine. So again, there's reasons to want to turn these things on, shut them off. Good news is it's not bugged in the way that one's on when you activate a third. Remember, like I said, you can only have 2. So let's say you turn on these 2. Then you try to turn on Brimarack, it'll shut off the first one you turned on. So if this was number 1, this was number 2, then you activate number 3, number 1 shuts off. And now this becomes number 1, this becomes number 2. Why do I say it like that? Because again, if I were to activate another one, or go back, say, oh wait, no, I really want to turn this one back on, this would be number 3, this would be number 1, this would be number 2, number 1 shuts off. So it's in order of what was the first one you turned on will be the first one that gets shut off. So they're very nice that they've added that part at least, so it doesn't glitch out in that respect. These other ones, again, like I said, only one and done. Having said that, the glitch on those guys is, again, like we say, we have a bonus to strength, a bonus to con, a bonus to wisdom. I can only imagine only one of those is supposed to be on at a time. Otherwise, this build's just fucking broken. Imagine a war priest or cleric build where you're like meleeing the shit out of stuff. where you have a +6 extra strength, +6 extra con, and a +6 extra wisdom for fucking free, just because you pick those aspects as you level up the demon path. That'd clearly be busted. And I can, again, like I said, I just assume it's because I saved this file before the patch. So if we build into it naturally, it may be fixed. It may be bugged only because I saved it before the patch. So be aware of that. Other stuff to point out here before we go into different build touch is I want to talk about the fact that they've updated some of the different icons, so you can see that they have a slightly different look to them. Same with gear. You'll see that things have new model designs, and for whatever reason now, instead of just being given Tyrandella's scale up above ground, which made no fucking sense that she was passing her scale off to you. Obviously, it was a placeholder for later on where she gets killed. Spoiler alerts, first minute of the fucking game. Don't sue me. Point is, when you go down into the crevasse, you find a couple of her Tyrandella scales down below. And now it makes more sense because, again, she was just murdered in front of you. She left you some of her scales. You will actually use this in the game. I'm not going to tell you how or why. But again, pick them up. They are of value. So I do like the new models. Again, another way to differentiate it from Kingmakers instead of using just the imported models from Kingmaker, which they still do. They've updated some and changed others to make more sense. So a fine example of stuff that needs to be fixed, for example, like we have spells in the Demon Mythic Path that I want to talk about and show you that they fixed. These spells are at levels 2, 3, 4, and 5 of that Demon Mythic Path called Demonic Form 1, 2, 3, and 4. These ones allow you to change shape into polymorph, if you will, into various demon forms. So we have Babao, Brimrak, and Sheer. I hope I'm saying these correctly. And notice that now they're able to give you a buff to like your strength or your dex or your con or both or multiples, again, of various things. So again, that's on you to decide which is the one you want. Note something else. They usually give you a couple things. One, they'll lock your innate gear in place. Two, they'll swap out your weapon for their weapon of choice when they'll give them a weapon. So, for example, one of the bad guys you can turn into has a trident, magic +1 unholy trident that they just give him. And again, he will use it. You will have skill in it. Doesn't matter if you had skill in it or not. He does. So that's nice. And again, you can still cast spells in these forms, which is also nice. So those squishy-ass wizards can have some serious demonic fun. Or pansy-ass ecclesiarch cleric can have some serious fun being in demon form and still casting spells, but still having the ability to melee or attack. Have some serious fun that way. But some of the other things that you'll get is you'll notice that it'll if you read the pop-up tooltips, you get its protective slime ability. You get this one's fire, breath, and flaming weapon ability. Again, you can see the appeal. So you're getting free spell-like abilities or upgrades to your charge attacks, your gore attack. Some of these guys, when they switch forms, you'll see over in the tooltip over here, you drop your weapon or you unequip your weapon, and you equip their weapon, which will be things like bite, claw, talon, things of this nature. And again, you'll see that and you're like, what the hell just happened? It's the way of the devs making sure that your character has the abilities of the demons. So again, you'll be clawing things, biting things, goring things, stampeding things, whatever. That'll be added to your character. So let's actually show you some instead of just keep talking so damn much. Let's give you the Babao form to show what it looks like for one. Again, this is an early level demon spell. Notice if you go inventory, you'll get a better look at them. Fucking really nice models, guys. The devs did a really nice job. Backpedal real quick here just to show you again. Equip magic, gore, claw, and bite. Again, reiterating the point that that's how they will attack. So again, you may not be the best meleeer in the world. They're not that bad. They get multiple attacks because of the claw, and bite. It's pretty solid. You'll notice that almost all, if not all of them, get a thing called Form Natural Armor. This will vary from +2 all the way up to, I think I saw +8 or +10. So again, obviously the higher level spells has the better armor. This is natural armor. Remember, this is not natural armor enhancement, which means it stacks with everything. It stacks with other natural armor. It stacks with natural armor enhancement. And of course, mage armor, so armors itself, dex bonuses, dodge bonuses, and all that fucking jazz. You will be a very tough cookie if you turn into some of these forms. And again, can still cast spells in this form. Notice in this particular instance, it's kind of hard to see because, again, we still have our fake strength, con, and intelligence buff. None of these given an intelligence, wisdom, or charisma buff. Notice that some of these, though, will give a strength, a dex, or a con, or multiple. So always look through them. In this case, we have a polymorph bonus from this form for strength +4. And that's it, I believe. Strength, aspect of Balor, so then that shouldn't be here. But again, you can see early levels, you can still have some serious fun being a stronger meleeer or a dexterous demon, again, as we'll see. If they have special abilities, many times you'll find them in here, like the ability to cast a spell or a spell-like ability. But if not, again, you should always have a turn-back ability, allowing you to turn back into your normal humanoid form. If I were to showcase all of them, it would take forever, so let's just show you one of my favorites. I like the Balor. It's the highest level 5 spell, so it's the demonic form 4. We have a choice of Vakia, that's another good one, in my opinion, especially for the model Marylinth, which kind of looks like a Hydra. Galu, which is a floating wolf dog demon motherfucker, kind of trippy. And the Rain of Blood ability that it has is pretty badass, but the one that I'm of course a big fan of is the Balrog. That's his name. It's called the Balor in this game. But again, if you go to your inventory, you can see what it looks like. Oh, Jesus, just evil. And again, locked up all our abilities here. So not that it throws them away, and we are still getting the benefit of some of these things. So again, if we look at our armor, you'll see that I have the engraved Lucky Bracers. It's still working for me. But I'm assuming it takes off your armor because, again, it replaces it with its abilities. Notice, again, reason then for the form natural armor, because, again, it's probably locking up your armor slot. So, nice. And again, my mage armor spell still works on me. And again, I buff that in a way that gives me a plus 14 instead of a plus 4. So you can see that I'm already doing well. So there's reasons for spells and buffs still. Don't kid yourself. Notice that it swaps out your weapons in favor of its weapons. Notice its weapons is a longsword plus 1 and a flaming plus 1 whip, which is this little bastard over here. It's considered a reach weapon. Pretty badass. And again, we're getting bonuses to strength plus 10. Again, that stacks with our aspect of Avakia, assuming we'd have that toggle running. I would recommend you do so. Again, a 6 and a 10. That's 16 extra strength right there, man. On a build where I could get potentially 24 strength naturally, throw on another 16, and we got you all the way up to 40. And then that would stack probably with a belt of strength plus 8, 6, something like that. And again, so we get you well into the high 40s, maybe close to the low 50s, with a solid strength-based build, going nothing more than Demon Path. This is pretty cool. Notice this one also gets a con bonus, a plus 8 to con. Look at that fucking meaty-ass fucking HP pool you got going on there. High fortitude save, of course, as a result of that as well. Solid character. And again, if they have any special abilities, that literally is like locked in here somewhere. I don't think this one has any special innate abilities more than it's just a straight-up badass. Looks fucking cool too, right? And again, just wanted to show you some of those things, just to show you that they have finally worked on some of those models and gave a shit about them. So know that that's the one thing. Now, let's actually talk before we round up this little discussion. Let's talk about the future of the build that I'm planning on doing for you guys. Now, obviously, I've taken away my mod manager. I won't be able to power level my characters anymore. So theory crafting will have to do for a time being. But I have started making another build. Notice how it says the power attack build. I don't want to save. I want to load. Sorry, I clicked the wrong thing. Load again. There we go. Natural progression of me fighting through the game. I want to talk to you about builds, and then pause the game here to have my little rant. The reason for wanting to do multiple builds in the future will be to showcase what I would consider 4 common build themes that I build around. So if you've ever watched any of my Kingmaker videos, my build videos, and certainly the ones that I've been doing for Wrath of the Righteous, you may notice a common theme coming along. Strength-based builds usually fall under 2 different paths. Sometimes I can merge those paths and get both of the builds to merge into one build. One path is this power attack build, again, just to reiterate that it's a strength-based build. Requires you to have power attacks because you're going to do things called what I call the Cornigan Smash build. The Cornigan Smash build, for those of you who don't know, is a strength and charisma centered build. Since I play Eldritch Scions, which is what this character is, charisma is their casting stat, strength is one of the 2 stats that you could use for attacking. So a strength charisma build by default, if I go that route, it makes sense. Now, why would you want the Cornigan Smash build? Let's talk about that before telling you how to get it. Well, the Cornigan Smash build, in a nutshell, allows you to do a couple things. One, it allows you to frighten, panic, scare, shaken a target. Basically, giving them penalties to their swing and their saves and some skill checks and some other shit. So a nice, fear me kind of shit. which is a fun and good way to set up the next part of the Corning Smash build, which is called Shatter Defenses. Shatter Defenses is a feat that if the target is shaken, feared, or panicked, doesn't matter how it got there. It could be from our Cornigan Smash. It could be from our natural, spells that are going to scare them. Someone else scaring them. However they got scared, doesn't matter. Once they're scared, they are flat-footed to our attacks. This is why the Cornigan Smash build was so powerful in Kingmaker, because you could literally just scare the shit in mass, a lot of bad guys, and now suddenly anyone on your team, including your main character, of course, that had Shattered Defenses, could just start peppering the fuckers like crazy. And again, because they're flat-footed, if you were a sneak attacker, which some of my builds were, you could get sneak attack damage technically for free without really doing much effort, which is really OP. I mean, it's quite disgusting. Now, the crux behind this build, again, strength and charisma being important, power attack being important, it's because of the prerequisites for what you have to do. Corning Smash only works, for example, if you have power attack on. So obviously you need power attack, but it's also a prerequisite for picking the feat. Other feats you will need will be things like weapon focus. Doesn't matter what kind of melee weapon it is, but it needs to be a weapon focus. The exception to that rule might be weapon focus for like melee touch attacks. That might not work, but I don't think it actually cares. You just need to have a weapon focus. Then you need to get things called like Dazzling Display, which is another feat. Cornigan Smash, which is a feat. Shattered Defenses. That's enough right there. Of course, power attack, which we already mentioned. So that's 5 feats basically that we're talking about that you will need to get that build rocking and rolling. Of course, there's other stuff to like enhance it. You can get things like Intimidating Prowess, which will give you your strength modifier. There's +3 that you're seeing right here. And of course, we're going to invest in strength with gear. So this +3 is definitely going to be higher. But we can add this +3 to our charisma modifier before we add that to our persuasion skill check. So high persuasions, high charisma, high intimidation, because it's a subclass of persuasion. So anything that buffs those things is something that would benefit that build. The last thing that I could do is a feat pick, and instead of Intimidating Prowess, which we just mentioned, you could grab the extended version of Cornigan Smash, which I call Dreadful Carnage. Well, the game calls it. It's what I'm calling it too, because that's what it's called. Dreadful Carnage is slightly different. Instead of Cornigan Smash, where you have to have power attack on and hit somebody with it, and you can only frighten, panic, scare, whatever that target of your hit. Basically, it's and again, I like the theme behind it too, because it's like, I hit you so fucking hard, you just like fucking like snap to and realize, oh Jesus Christ, this guy's fucking serious, and you get a little fucking scared. So Cornigan Smash by itself, I thematically have it worked in my head. It makes perfect sense. Dreadful Carnage is a step above all, and what it does is, if you kill somebody, and it don't matter how you fucking kill them, but if your character that has Dreadful Carnage kills someone on the map, every bad guy that's within range of that sees it, and they become panicked. So instead of it being a single target fear effect, it is now an AoE fear effect. So we are scaring the bejesus out of everyone. And again, perfect sense for when you make those play styles, and if you go the Dreadful Carnage route, which will take a serious investment. If you do that though, take out the weak fry first, because he's going to be easier to kill. When you kill him, all his buddies go, holy shit, this guy's serious, and everyone gets fucking scared. Now, downside on this, and again, can't really fucking talk about this, the pluses of this without talking about the minuses. The minuses on this are, again, you have to be strength and charisma centered character, or at least that's the best case scenario. B, lots of feat investment, but also C, and this is the real point you need to pay attention to, there's a lot of bad guys, especially demons in this game, that don't get scared. They are not afraid of you. They don't give a fuck that you killed their buddy right next to them, because he fucking hated that guy anyway. So again, immunity to the fear effect is basically neutering this build. Having said that, there's still plenty of opportunity for you to scare people already in this game. So again, the Cornigan Smash build is a staple. That's one build. Build number 2 for strength-based builds. Again, doesn't have to be charisma-based, but strength-based character and a melee character, to be specific, is what we call the Cleaving Finish build. The Cleaving Finish build, again, is a heavy feat investment. It requires things, again, like power attack, strength-based characters, simply because you need, I think, like a strength of 13 to unlock power attack. So why not just make it a strength of 16, 19, something in there as level 1 character. So you're probably going to be a strength-based meleeer to do this one justice. And you need a reach weapon. A reach weapon, for those of you who don't know, is a weapon that extends longer than the 2-foot range of your terrible fucking weapons that are normal melee weapons. So if you look at this weapon, for it used to be that it would say it. Oh, I don't see it in here. But if you ever get a reach weapon, they will say it is a reach weapon, and that reach weapon will be a reach of like 5 feet instead of the 2 feet, which is a typical longsword dagger reach in melee. And again, you will notice it in combat because your character will run up on a bad guy, and instead of being like right up in the thick of it, you'll be a little farther back, like to the point where, like, if this was my party, this guy was engaged already, and this was my character, I could literally reach over their shoulder and stab you with a long spear, and not be in your face like this character would have to be with her short sword or her long sword. So that's what a reach weapon basically is. Now back to the feat picks. To get it, again, you need power attack. Like we said, strength base makes more sense. And again, reach weapons are notoriously two-handers. So it lends itself to being a power attack, strength base build anyway, which, again, you need some of those things. So that's cool. Go further with it. What feats are you going to grab? You're going to grab Cleave. You're going to grab Great Cleave. In no order here. Again, some are stepping stones for others, but you need Cleave, Great Cleave, Cleaving Finish, and Improved Cleaving Finish. That's 4 feats plus Power Attack. That's 5 feats. That's a lot of investment. You don't need a weapon focus, but you probably should, because again, you're going to know what your reach weapon of choice is. You know, the long spear, the bardiche, the glaive are the 3 that stick out in my head. That may be the only 3, but I don't think that's true. But at the very least, those 3 will get you where you're going. So what does it do, brethren? Well, the Cleaving Finish build, when you unlock each of those milestones, Cleave, for example, allows you to click the ability and attack a bad guy. If you hit, you get a one and done attack. Doesn't matter if you should normally get 3 attacks, 1 attack, 5 attacks. You get 1 attack and you're finished. If you hit him and there's someone else, another target, in range of your weapon, which is why the reach weapons are necessary in my opinion, you literally swing at his friend at a full attack bonus. So you get 2 attacks, pop, pop, very quickly, early in the game. That's very powerful, because again, 2 attacks for the price of 1 is pretty good action economy. Having said that, it's kind of shit later on. Well, again, we're not done. That's just Cleave. Great Cleave, for those of you who don't know, allow you to do it multiple times. What does that mean? So again, if I have 5 bad guys within melee range of my big ass fucking long spear, and I click the Cleave icon again and attack the main motherfucker, I hit him. Then I try to cleave someone else within range. Normally I'd be done. Not with Great Cleave. You keep attacking. You hit that guy, okay, now you can hit another guy that's a different target you haven't hit, again, and swing at that son of a bitch. And then you keep going until you whiff or run out of targets. So you can see how Great Cleave is very useful. 1 attack turns in suddenly into 3 or 4 or 5 attacks, depending on the number of bad guys around you. Hence, Cleave being powerful. Then there's something called Cleaving Finish. Well, a Cleaving Finish work is not a clickable. It just kicks off for you killing a target. Again, if I kill somebody, if someone's within range, I try to cleave that motherfucker for free. So again, a free attack on some. So I follow up with stabbing that dude, and now swinging at his buddy, because that dude's dead, and I just follow the momentum, if you will, which is pretty badass. But again, only 1 and done. Having said that, then you get Improved Cleaving Finish, the 4th and final feat. That one allows you to basically kill and kill and kill and kill until you run out of targets, you whiff, or literally, I think that's it. You run out of targets. Oh, I should say not run out of targets. You run out of things that you kill. So again, if you kill and 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 kill, and there's just like numerous bad guys around you, and every swing is killing somebody, there's Improved Cleaving Finish to the next guy. Improved Cleaving Finish to the next guy. And again, you hit, yes. Did it kill it? Yes. Move on to another dude. And again, there's no cap. The cap being limited, I suppose, by the range of your weapon and the number of bad guys around you. So you can see how Improved Cleaving Finish is a solid attacking build. So that's 2 strength builds I've just given you right now. And again, in many cases, I can merge those 2. Not always, because again, 5 feats and 5 feats, man, that's fucking 10 feats. That's pretty much your build. That doesn't leave a lot of room for some fun. And in many cases, you don't want to go Improved Cleaving Finish. You know, like for this character, again, a Magus build, which is what this character, an Eldritch Scion, is. He's probably not going to want to wield a 2-handed weapon. He'll wield a longsword, and he will wield it 2-handed on occasion, but by and large, Cleaving Finish and Improved Cleaving Finish doesn't make a whole lot of sense for him. He doesn't have reach weapons that are one-handed, so it's probably not in your best interest to go that route. There's ways around it and spells that can help in that regard, but again, that's for another time. But again, those 2 are your solid strength builds. Now, if you were a dex-based player, which is again a solid choice, there's two dex-based builds that I routinely fall back on again because they work. They work in Kingmaker, they work in this game. Will there be instances where it's complete shit and garbage? Yes. But they work and they still, it ticks all the boxes. Dex-based build, sure. Weapon finessing, sounds good. You want to hit something with a ranged weapon? Again, sounds good. So you have nice armor, nice reflexes, you have better initiative. There's plenty of reasons a dex-based build owns in these games. Now, what are the two builds? One is a staple. I've done it already for Kingmaker, revisited it before, and rehashed it for this game. So it is the equivalent of what we call basically the two-weapon fighting build. It is where you take a light weapon, daggers, short swords, kukris are my favorite choices, but it's not the only ones, and you specialize to the point where that's your weapon of choice. Why? Because you're going to find two of those awesome daggers, let's just say, and have what we call dual wielding, where you have one in one hand, one in the offhand. Normally that's a penalty. Matter of fact, it's still a penalty in this game, and it is a suck-ass penalty. Having said that, if you pick up the feat two-weapon fighting, and you need high dexterity like 15 to be able to do this, you get to use a weapon in your offhand at much less of a penalty. How much less? From being like, I want to say like a -8 or a -10 to your swing, which is shit, to a -4 if it's a normal weapon, like say a longsword and a longsword in your offhand, or if it's a light weapon, it goes down even 2 more points to a -2 and a -2, which means it's a -2 to your main hand, a -2 to your offhand. Let's give you an example. Here you go. Here's two-weapon fighting. Notice the penalties. Okay, so here is someone that doesn't have two-weapon fighting as an actual feat yet. -4 for the main hand. Notice on the offhand is at a -8. That -4 and that -8 is always there. So you can do this, but that's a bad idea. Get two-weapon fighting, the feat called two-weapon fighting, and all you have to do is have a dexterity, like I said, of 15 to pull this off. If you do that, this -4 drops to a -2. This -8 drops to a -2. And again, it's only because the offhand weapon is, you see up in the upper corner there, it says light. That's your cue. It doesn't have to be both weapons to be light. So again, I can not swordboard, but long sword and dagger it and still get that bonus that I was just talking about. But remember, the light weapon has to be in the offhand. Now, having said all that, why would you do this? Because it's a penalty. Well, it's an extra attack. And again, if you have weapons that are enchanted and magic, and of course you're going to, they're going to be solid buffs to the weapons, and they're going to give you other things besides just being a plus to your swing, plus to your damage. There'll be weapons that are on fire, there'll be weapons that give you better strength, just like random stupid shit. So, again, why then do you want two-weapon fighting? Besides the extra attack, I mean, that's really it. It's a dex-based build because, again, you need dex of 15 to unlock that two-weapon fighting feat. But then there's two other feats called improved two-weapon fighting, which gives you another attack at a penalty, of course, because it's, again, a iterative attack, which means there's main attack number 1, then there's a follow-up attack. And then, of course, there's greater two-weapon fighting, which gives you your third and final attack in your offhand weapon. And again, at a massive penalty. What is those penalties? Remember, for every step, your main attack, your first attack in the combat round is normal full BAB, which is this base attack bonus, the BAB. And your strength or dex modifier, assuming that you're doing a dex-based build. Notice that's full strength. Same with two-weapon fighting with your offhand weapon. It, again, is the full BAB. Nothing changes here. The penalties are what we're trying to limit. Having said that, the next attack, so when you get attack number 2 in your main hand, and same with your second attack with your offhand, if you get improved weapon fighting, they go down 5 points because it's an iterative attack. Same with the next attack, so your third attack in your main hand, and again your third attack in your offhand. If you get greater to weapon fighting, it's down another 5 points, so it's less likely that those follow-up attacks will hit. There's ways around that, but by and large, know that they're going to be less likely to land. But they're still free extra attacks. If you get them, you're going to hit. And Ginsu the shit out of stuff, which is why the two-weapon fighting build is solid build, in my estimation. Assuming you can, survive toe-to-toe, melee style. That's always a caveat. So, solid build. I've done it a million times. It's done a million times for a reason, because it works. It works every time. Does exactly what you need to do, and all you have to do is make sure that that offhand weapon is light. Know that your dexterity needs to be 15, then 17, then 19 to get those feats respectively. That's two-weapon fighting, improved two-weapon fighting, and greater two-weapon fighting. You don't have to get all 3 of them. I've done it in the past where I've said, I don't really need greater two-weapon fighting because, again, that -10 to its swing, it's kind of shit. It's going to miss more often than it's going to hit. So when it does hit, you're like, I guess, cool, yay. because you got a free hit. So you went from 3 attacks to 6 attacks in a combat round. That's cool, but it's still sometimes it's like I can see skipping that one because again, it's probably going to miss. This game changes that. There's some ways to really make those -5 and -10s to the swings trivial. And again, I'll explain those in various builds. But again, notice that is one of my 2 dex-based builds. The other dex-based build, of those that you don't know, is what I call the the Point Blank Master. Point Blank Master, routinely used on either Eldritch Scions or Sword Saints, because they're usually a dex-based build as well, requires you to get several feats. Not surprising. One, you don't need dex per se, but it makes sense for the build because you're going to be ranged attacking with raise spells. This is what the Point Blank Master in my builds are about. You're going to use your raise spells like your infinite use cantrips. So you have like Acid Splash, Disrupt Undead, Ray of Frost for your Magus builds. If you're going like Wizard or Sorcerer, you also get Jolt, another raise spell, which is infinite use electric attack. Why does this matter? Well, it's easier to hit with a touch attack than it is to swing with a weapon. Because as you can see for our armor class down here, for example, I have armor, then I have flat-footed, then I have touch armor. So notice my touch armor is the lowest in this category. It's equal to the flat-footed, but sometimes flat-footed is usually better than touch. So it's easier to hit that mark. So there's that. 2, if they're flat-footed and I have sneak attack, again, it's easier to hit them, and with them being flat-footed, I get my sneak attack damage safely with a raise spell. And that damage is equal to the raise spell type. So if I'm using like Jolt for electric damage, the sneak attack damage will be electric damage. If I'm using Acid Splash, again, the Acid Splash hits if I got sneak attack potential there and that keys off, and I get the sneak attack, then I get more acid damage. So you can see the appeal already. Well, so now what does Point Blank Master give me then, Brother Mean? Well, for the feat investment of point blank shot, precise shot, I want to say you need things like weapon focus in the weapon of choice, which could be a bow, it could be a crossbow, javelin, any ranged weapon. In our case, it will be raise spells or ranged touch attacks. And that will work, and that will be a bonus to your swing with those raise spells, a +1 to their swing. Solid. And I think you even need weapon specialization, which the downside of this is weapon specialization, while it works with the longbow and the crossbow and all those other ranged weapons, it will not give you a +2 to damage to your raise spells, which I think is a mistake. I think that's something that I need to really get on and harp about that to them with a bug report. Say, hey, I got weapon specialization and raise. You offer it. I love it. Where's my 2 extra points of damage? And it's only 2. So again, I don't really care, but it's a feat investment that I'm not getting any real benefit from. The only reason I get it is because I need it to unlock Point Blank Master Raise. If you get that, and you have the ability to get Point Blank Master Raise, and not everyone can, because you need fighter level feats to get this. Well, the good news is Magus get fighter levels. Fighters obviously get fighter levels, and Rangers get around it by getting a combat style archery that will unlock Point Blank Master, and they don't need to meet the prerequisites, so they don't need to be a fighter level 4, 8, or whatever the fuck it is. But if you do this, Point Blank Master of whatever ranged weapon we're talking about, bow, crossbow, in my case, raise spells, what it does is normally, if you shoot at point blank range, melee range, with said weapon, it provokes an attack of opportunity by all meleeers within range of you. So you will see demons just maul your ass because you dared to shoot them with a fucking crossbow. And that's your weapon of choice, for example. And you're like, well, fuck that shit. Well, I'll switch to a melee weapon. Again, that will not provoke attack of opportunity. It's just an annoyance now, because now your ranged attacker has to go back to being a meleeer. This is a way for, again, you can role play, if you know, like Legolas in Lord of the Rings. Motherfucker was like drawing an arrow and fucking shooting dudes in the fucking neck at point blank goddamn range like a boss. That's what that is. That's Point Blank Master. He's not provoking attacks of opportunity. He's so skilled with his bow, he's just like, fuck you, I'm shooting you at point blank range. Boom, right in the neck. Boom, right in the neck. Just dropping them like flies, baby. And that's fucking awesome. And I thought, well, that's cool, and I can do that with a bow, crossbow, whatever else. But I'm like, well, it also works with raise spells. And I have raise spells. And as a matter of fact, I have infinite use raise spells in the Acid Splash, Ray of Frost, and Disrupt Undead. Maybe I would like to shoot them at point blank range and not provoke an attack of opportunity. And one thing further, the Eldritch Scions, or the Magus, I should say, have the ability to cast a spell in combat, and still, as long as they're within melee range, follow up follow up with melee attacks. So now imagine I shoot you with my cantrip in the face, an acid splash to the face just to start off the fucking fight. Fuck you, acid splash. And then I swing with my weapon 3 goddamn times. All in the same combat round. That's what the Point Blank Master for Ray spells does. And again, will not provoke attacks of opportunity, and I love that build. So that's 4 builds right there. Min-max-ish, I suppose. But again, 2 for strength, 2 for dex. These are my core. These are my staple. And my idea is I'm going to make you all 4 in various builds. Again, in this case, Elder Scion for one of the power attack ones, probably the Cornian Smash. Because again, the high charisma, high strength makes sense. I'll show you another one with a completely different class. Using, again, power attack, strength-based build, where I show you the Cleave build, probably a straight fighter. I'll show you the Point Blank Master Ray, with probably a different type of Eldritch Scion or a different type of character. And again, show you the pros and cons of these 4 different builds. That's what's coming in the future. Now, why am I showing you these? Because, and this is in direct response to some reviews that I've seen on Pathfinder Kingmaker. Being that I've watched my old content and got, refreshed my memory of what I've done in the past, kind of, take notes, so to speak. The algorithm for YouTube has been saying, hey, you like Pathfinder Kingmaker videos, even if they're mine, and apparently you want to see other people. So here's this guy's review of it. And for those that don't know, there is a very great, in my opinion, YouTuber whose channel is called Never Knows Best. If you have an opportunity, watch his fucking reviews of games. He's spot on, and especially for Kingmaker. One night he did like 2 different reviews for it. One in the early release of the game because it was a buggy mess, and he was honest, and I agreed with him in many cases. In his complete review of Kingmaker, once they ironed out all those little bugs and shit, and he went back and revisited the game, I found myself not only agreeing with him and nodding in agreement throughout the whole video. He pointed out shit that never really dawned on me. I'm like, yeah, that is true. And I always liked that. Or he's like, yeah, that is true. I always fucking hated Kingdom Management. And he was honest. He was brutal, but he was fair in my estimation. Having said that, I've seen other reviewers. I'm not going to call them out because A, I don't want to give them credit for shit that I disagree in. But also B, I don't want to be that guy. But I will say that there have been several reviewers that negatively impacted Pathfinder Kingmaker. To the point where while I was reading the comment section below their review, which I disagreed with wholeheartedly, there was stuff that I agree with still, so it's not that they were completely wrong. But I saw many people in their comment section saying, whoa, boy, I'm glad I saw this review. I was going to buy this game. Thanks to your review, I guess I won't waste my time. No, God, no. Wait, Pathfinder Kingmaker is awesome. It is a game you should definitely want to play. And again, worth the money, especially if it's on fucking sale. It's totally worth it. You will get hours of enjoyment out of that game. And the way I always envision games for an investment, if let's say it's a $40 game, if I get 40 hours of enjoyment out of that game, that was money well spent in my mind. That's a fucking $1 an hour. You can't fucking find something to entertain me for $1 an hour. I mean, fucking video games that I played back in the day when I was a kid, go to the arcade, fucking a buck would last you, what, 4 or 5 tokens on the fucking video games? That was never an hour worth of play. So I consider that money well spent, and I know that I'll get like 100, 200 hours plus of enjoyment out of that game. So this 4 builds is in response to these reviewers for a couple reasons. One of the complaints I saw in multiple reviews were, you have to min-max to even be able to play this game. That's bullshit lie. Yes, I've just given you 4 kind of min-max builds that I just suggested to you guys. And again, I want to show you those. So again, if you want to play the game and feel strong and powerful or dexterous and agile and badass, you'll have those builds and know how to make them. But B, I'm going to also show you beyond those 4 builds. I'm going to show you other builds that I have that have nothing to do with any of those fucking 4 core systems. Yes, it'll be a strength-based build. Yes, it'll be a dex-based build because, again, you have to have something to attack with. You can't just say, I'm going to have a strength of 10 and a dex of 10 and my game's going to be awesome. Are you a caster? No. Then you're fucked. I'm sorry, but you are not going to have fun playing this game with a strength of 10 and a dex of 10 and not being a caster. I mean, if you could do that and be a caster like a wizard or sorcerer, I'd still say probably put something in dexterity. You need to have some armor. You have to have some better reflexes. You have to have some fucking better initiative so you can cast your spells first. So there's reasons to still want dex. But again, I suppose you could make the case, well, I'm going to be a wisdom-based monk. Okay, there's some builds out there that are capable of tanking strength, dex, and con. I wouldn't do it, but they could, I suppose. And wisdom being like maxed to the fucking 9s, you could have a build that's not shit. But that's a terrible role-playing standard, even in role-playing games. I mean, let me rephrase. We usually, when we play role-playing games, pen and paper version, you either have a point-buy system or you roll the dice. In this case, it's a point-buy system. Roll the dice however you want to do it, but you almost always have a stat that's fucking amazing. Charisma, intelligence, strength, whatever. You have one that's fucking crushing it. And that usually dictates the kind of character you're making. Are you strong? Well, you're probably a fighter, barbarian, something in that vein. If you're extremely intelligent, it makes sense to be a wizard. Go that route. And again, your dungeon master, your GM will fucking guide you in that direction if you don't understand the rules very much. So again, you're always the hero or villain, depending on how you play, and you are exceptional at least at something, right? Hence the reason for me like having an amazing charisma and a decent strength, or an amazing charisma and a decent dexterity. Again, that's usually my go-to. One of those two stats is being buffed in some way that's awesome, strength or dex. So that's not min-maxing to me. I don't want to impact the gameplay for my friends. I don't want to be the little gobbo, dwarf or a halfling, whatever, that's fucking tripping over their giant ass feet because their dexterity just happens that they roll bad and their dexterity is like a goddamn 8. And their strength is already crap because, again, they're a teeny tiny person. So, again, their strength is already at a -2 to whatever it could have been. So if it was 10, it's an 8. If it's an 8, it's a 6. You can see the problems associated with some of these different races. But, again, lean into the fences and role play that shit out. But in a game like this, you don't get to lean into the fences and role play your way out of scenarios. You're not chatting up your GM buddy and say, hey man, I always wanted to fucking like kill that fucking dragon there with a fucking teeny tiny fucking toothpick or whatever. Kind of hook me up a little bit, I'll buy pizza today. You don't get to do that in this game. So when people bitch about, you gotta min-max, you gotta be extra special, that's bullshit lie, for one. And B, well, maybe on the hardest difficulty. Well, we'll say that. On the hardest difficulty, sure. You need to bring your A game. But B, if you're playing on normal, even core difficulty, you can get by with just a solid understanding of strength is important, make sure it's good. Or dex is important, make sure it's good. Go with those and make sure your con is not a 10 or less. That's also good. And you will not be a bad character. Having said that, that is not enough information for you to be a great character on the hardest difficulty. Even me, who has played Kingmaker for many, many hours, played the game at least 3 times, I want to say now, I would never play it on the hardest difficulty and expect anything other than a constant fucking scum save fest, where I'm literally like, through the fucking tutorial especially, where you're level fucking 1, unless you're bringing like your best fucking tankiest fucking fighter, barbarian, meat stick of fucking badassness into that fucking tutorial, you're gonna get your ass handed to you. These stats alone are inflated so much on the hardest difficulties that you literally have to rely on RNGs just to get through the tutorial. Once you start getting levels under your belt, you're level 2 to level 3, probably by the time you're level 5, you're feeling your Wheaties, you're sowing your oats a little bit. You're feeling pretty fucking good about yourself. But you can still fucking, like, at a random occasion of, like, walking through the forest, get jumped by a goddamn monster that'll just eat your lunch. So, yeah, don't bitch about the game because of that. That's just fucking the nature of the beast, man. That is not, again, those games are only for min-maxers. That's bullshit. You specifically chose to play it on the hardest difficulty. Why would you bitch about that then at that point? I mean, yeah, I'll bitch about it just because I'm going to bitch because I'm human. That's how it fucking works. But it's not the dev's fault. It's my fault for picking the hardest difficulty. If I played it on normally, and I'm not saying baby difficulty, I'm the normal difficulty for Kingmaker and this game is still ridiculously easy. Again, there are problems. Things will happen. Problems with the game. Problems that will arise. You'll get mugged by like 3 monsters just because you were up in the front. I wasn't paying attention. I wasn't casting spells. I didn't buff myself properly. Hell, you can see right now my character's fucking wounded. The other character is wounded. These guys have died recently and have been fucking unconscious, I should say, recently. And after the fight was over, they got back off, dusted off their fucking clothes, and they got like a 1 or a 2 for health right now. I have yet to heal them up. We finally found a Cure Light Wounds wand, which again I'm about to fucking equip to a character who can use it and top off my team. This should be constant things in your mind when you're playing this game. Don't run into battle with no fucking health, no buffs on, and then bitch about how hard the game is. Fucking seriously, you gotta treat your team with some fucking dignity and respect. Heal your team up, buff your team up, be that character. You are the party. This is the real thing about this game that's very odd compared to pen and paper. People will be like, oh, this is too tough. This is too tough. I got to micromanage all these people. Yeah, that's what you signed in for if you're playing this game. Why would you think other? Why? I mean, yeah, I've seen videos, and hell, I've done my own solo playthroughs, as solo as you can anyway, for Kingmaker, and have enjoyed it. It's tough, it's challenging, but I enjoy it. It's easy once you get to a certain threshold. And again, by knowing, and again, this is metagaming, where you know that that specific weapon's over here in that area, and that's a badass weapon, I can get it early. Hey, I'm going to go over there when I'm level 3, kill the bad guys in the air, or hell, just sneak in the air, steal the fucking weapon out from under them, and sneak the hell back out. I've done that before. Sure. And it's fun, and it trivializes many of the fights from that point forward. I enjoy solo plays and some of stuff like that, but I'm not going to on this game because A, you seem to need your team damn near everywhere you go, and I would not recommend soloing. I'm sure someone will. The demons in this fucking game, because those bastards are mean. Spell immunity, spell resistance, immune to fear effects, just all kinds of shit that would ruin some of my best builds, and be like, damn, I didn't fucking see that coming. But again, work around it. There's always a solution. Having said that, part of the other builds that I'm going to make for you guys, again, I'll show you the core 4 in the next 4 videos. Maybe 2 videos, maybe I'll combine them. But I'll show you the core abilities and say this is what you would have to do to make a good corner and smash build. This is what you'd have to do to make a good cleave build. Here's your Dex 2 build, your weapon, point blank master, and your 2-weapon fighting. I'll show you those builds again, and you'll see them ad nauseum when I play other builds for you guys that I'm making for various people. But I will also show you, here's a skill monkey build. He's good enough with a ranged weapon that he's not completely incompetent, so he'll have like point blank shot, precise shot, probably have rapid shot, and deadly aim, and that's all you really need to be a decent ranged attacker. You need a solid BAB, base attack bonus, or at least enough dexterity to fucking capitalize on that fucking crossbow or whatever. But by and large, you will not be a hindrance, quote unquote, to your team, and still be able to pick feats that will be, like, I'm going to buff my trickery skills, so I'm the best fucking trap disarming son of a bitch that ever was. I'm going to buff my persuasion skills so that I'm the face of the team. I'm the team captain and the leader. I should be the most important person that everyone wants to fucking talk to. I'll be the best bluffer, diplomacy guy / intimidating son of a bitch you've ever seen. And again, I'll show you those builds. And again, totally like to role play that shit myself, so I get it. I understand where people come from when they play this game. They say, I can't role play like I want to. Yeah, it's on a fucking rail system. You're just going to have to understand that that's how this game is going to be. There's a decent amount, though, of role play to be had. It may not be what you would want. I mean, you can look back to Kingmaker and see how frustrated I was with, oh, gee, why can't I romance her? She's a hottie. Because she's a core character in the rules games, and the devs have decided, or someone in Paizo decided, you can't romance her because she has a husband or whatever. What, she was a vested virgin when she met that guy? How the fuck can I romance her? I guess because the idea would be you're romancing her, and then she would be your queen, forevermore. So it would ruin the canon, if you will, of the story that they've built, I suppose. But whatever, maybe I came to an untimely demise, and I would want my wife queen to marry someone else and be awesome and be happy. Whatever, don't ruin my fun. So again, I can get where people are bitching about the role play's not quite what they were hoping for. But again, that's what pen and paper is for. So again, with all this, I hope that showed you what I really am shooting for in the future. I'm still working on your guys' builds, but again, until we get another patch for that mod that won't break the game, I'm stuck leveling the characters up the old-fashioned way. Again, I still have my old saves, so I can still have a build or two that I probably have finished that I can show you guys, like the demon one I just showed you a moment ago. But they weren't polished, they weren't finished, and I hate to fucking show you unfinished work. So I probably won't do that. I am excited. I've yet to see if they've unlocked the legendary, the gold dragon, or the swarm that walks, or whatever the fuck those are called, the new mythic pass. Hope that's in the game now, but I can hope that still they actually kept that from us, so it will be something fresh and new for us when we actually play the game officially in September. With that, the only other thing to really point out again is that again, graphical changes, bug fixes. Still report your bugs, guys. There's still plenty in there that is bugged and not working as intended, and I maintain that I will report more often because I want to be a part of making the game better. So I will report things that I find as bugs. Whether it's something as simple as a typo, or something as game breaking as a blocked mission that you can't progress because this thing exploded and now I can't finish the mission. Maybe that's intended. And again, if they tell us such, oh, you can't open that chest because you broke the chest and now you broke the contents inside the chest that you needed to complete this quest, as long as that's not a game breaking bug, but just a simple side quest breaking bug, maybe it's not even a bug, maybe it was intended. I'm okay with that, but I need to know. So that's why I will bug report shit. I will even bug report stuff that I know from Kingmaker is broken in this game still to this day. A fine example. There's an amazing spell, level 4, called Dragon's Breath. Spell that wizards, sorcerers, and of course magi have access to. This spell allows you to cast a spell and pick like one of 5 Dragon's Breaths. So you get your acid, your cold, your electric, or your fire. And some are cones and some are beams. It says in the tooltip for the spell, not affected by spell resistance. That is a lie. Either it is affected by spell resistance, which it is, and they need to change the tooltip, or they need to fix the spell and really make it where spell resistance is not applicable. I don't care which. It's misleading and I don't like that. So again, to me, that's a bug, and it needs to be reported. It needs to be fixed. And again, if they don't want to fix that, they just want to fix the tooltip and say, oh, spell resistance is applicable. Hey, I'm fine with that. But make sure it's in there, because it bugs me when I'm like, oh, this will be a great spell. I have these demon fights all the time, and they all have spell resistance, and my spell resistance, or spell pen, it actually sucks. So here's a spell that I should be able to use on those fuckers and not have to worry. And then you see, oh, didn't penetrate their spell resistance. Son of a bitch! I can feel your frustration. I totally understand when that shit happens, hence the reason for bug reporting. So feel free to do so. As I explore the game some more, while making these 4 different builds and then some, the skill monkey and some other shit that I was theory crafting the other day, as I uncover new stuff and things, I will try to make a note of it and report back to you guys like, oh, they fixed this or they changed that, and oh, well, that's a nice addition to the game, to bring that to you guys' attention, because I again am very happy with the status of the game right now. Yes, there's even more bugs than ever, but like I said, they broke a bunch of shit yesterday with this patch, and already today they've already submitted another patch fixing a variety of things that people were immediately pissed about. Oh my god, this is broken, you ruined my game forever. Nope, we'll fix it. And the devs care. And I think that deserves kudos, and I am very happy that the devs are that quick to respond, and very happy that we have such a good developing team. With that, this video's gone on definitely long enough. My name is Brother Mean. Please like, subscribe, comment down below. Please also, since I am working on your builds here in the future, list again for me. Again, I apologize. I know I say this all the time, but I am constantly forgetting to do builds for people. I say I will, and then I lose you in the shuffle with all the other people that are suggesting stuff. And I have a laundry list of ones that are already on the back burner in my brain to do. Feel free to remind me down below. I don't take offense. Yeah, maybe I'll take offense if you call me a fucking idiot or something. Hey, you dumbass, you didn't fucking make my build yet. I probably still won't take offense, because I know I said I'd make that build for you and I forgot. Just remind me, though, what you're looking for. Hey, I'm looking for a monk build this, I'm a beastkin fucking berserker that. I'm looking for blood rager, etc., so forth. Again, give me as much info as you'd like to give me down below. And once I get that mod, assuming that they're going to work on that mod, and the ability to power level characters again, I'll go back to making your guys' builds for you. With that, my name's Brother Mean. Please like, subscribe, comment down below. Tell me what you guys think about the new patch. Are you excited for September to come? Hopefully they're honest when they say September 4th, 3rd, something like that. It's going to be when the game is released. Maybe, maybe not. They're very good at fixing bugs, I will say that. And again, the more people that bug report early, the more likely that we'll have a well-polished game that is received on time. With that, I'll see you guys soon. Bye now.